Welcome back to the channel. Today we will explore the shocking stories of stars who once stood at the pinnacle of fame, but then had to face the consequences of their own wrong choices. Once icons admired by millions, they had it all. Brilliant careers, glamorous halo, but then fate took an unexpected turn. What really happened? What are the secrets behind the scandals that made them lose everything? Let's uncover the truth about 20 famous actors who are paying the price for their past mistakes. These stories not only shocked the public, but also served as haunting reminders of the dark side of fame, power, and the consequences of wrong decisions. What do you think about the dramatic developments in their lives? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments section and discuss the little-known hidden corners. Shannon Richardson, an actress who appeared in The Walking Dead and The Vampire Diaries, made headlines in 2013 when she was exposed as the mastermind behind a high-profile case. She secretly sent letters containing ricin, a deadly poison, to President Barack Obama, New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and Mark Glaze, the head of a gun control advocacy organization, prompting an intense investigation by authorities. The incident occurred when Shannon's marriage to Nathan Richardson was on the brink of collapse. In an effort to get back at her husband, she concocted an elaborate plan to frame him. However, investigators quickly uncovered the truth, and Shannon was arrested in June 2013 after confessing to producing and mailing the poison-laced letters at her home in Texas. For these dangerous acts, she faced a series of serious charges, including threatening the president, sending threatening letters, and possessing a biological weapon. At trial, Shannon argued that she acted out of stress due to a broken marriage and the stress of being pregnant. However, the court determined that her actions were intentional and posed a serious threat to national security. In July 2014, she was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $367,400 in restitution for investigation costs. Shannon is currently serving her sentence at Carswell Federal Medical Center in Texas, with an expected release date of 2032. Once a promising actress, she ruined it all with her own hands due to poor decisions, a costly lesson in the consequences of rash actions. When Percy Master P. Miller founded No Limit Records, he not only changed the landscape of hip-hop, but also hoped to take his family out of the violent life in New Orleans. His two younger brothers, Corey C. Murder Miller and Vyshawn Silk the Shocker Miller, quickly made a name for themselves as sought-after artists. But as their careers took off, Corey found himself caught up in a legal maelstrom that would last for years. The big news came in 2002, when a brawl at a New Orleans nightclub resulted in the death of 16-year-old Steve Thomas. Corey became the focus of an investigation, leading to a series of controversial trials. He was initially convicted in 2003, but the conviction was quickly overturned due to questions about his witness testimony. However, in 2009, after a retrial, Corey was sentenced to life in prison, a verdict that remains controversial to this day. In recent years, many organizations and individuals, including Kim Kardashian, have called for a review of the case, arguing that there were too many irregularities in the trial process. However, in 2023, the court still upheld the sentence, making hopes of a turning point increasingly slim. Corey Miller's story continues to raise many questions about justice and fairness in the legal system. What do you think about this case? Share your thoughts below. Danny Masterson, best known for his role as Stephen Hyde on the hit comedy That 70s Show, 1998 to 2006, had a stellar career before a legal tangle sent his life into a tailspin. Between 2001 and 2003, Masterson was accused of sexual misconduct with two women at his home. The case initially received little attention, but in 2017, as the movement for justice for victims spread, the allegations against him suddenly became the center of attention. The lengthy investigation led to Masterson being removed from the Netflix series The Ranch, ending his burgeoning career. After years of litigation, Two of the charges were formally brought to trial. The 8-month trial featured haunting testimony from the victims, revealing shocking hidden corners. By May 2023, a jury had found Masterson guilty, and just 4 months later he was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Once a beloved star, Danny Masterson now faces dark days when he is officially sentenced to North Kern State Prison, California, at the end of 2023. It is not only a shocking fall from grace for Hollywood, but also a reminder that fame cannot cover up mistakes. Tammy Lynn Sytch, also known as Sunny, was a shining icon of WWE in the 1990s. With her captivating beauty and powerful influence, she not only helped shape the golden age of wrestling entertainment, but also became one of the first divas to captivate millions of fans. However, after the brilliant halo, her life gradually slid into darkness. In the following years, Sunny was constantly entangled in legal turmoil and an endless battle with personal problems. The climax was on March 25, 2022, when she caused a serious accident in Ormond Beach, Florida. In a state of losing control, the car she was driving crashed straight into another vehicle, causing serious consequences. The incident forced Sunny to face a harsh sentence. In August 2023, she was officially sentenced to 17 years in prison, marking the bitter final chapter in a series of mistakes that have lasted for many years. With this sentence, she will not be able to return to a free life until 2039, when she turns 67. From a famous WWE legend to a life tied to the law, Sunny's story is a clear demonstration of the unpredictable consequences when the halo is not enough to cover the dark corners of life. But is this the end for a once bright star, or is there still a chance for her to write a new page for herself? Sean Combs, better known by his stage name Diddy, is one of the most powerful icons in the world of music. Not only is he a talented artist, he is also a producer and businessman with a profound influence, contributing to shaping hip-hop and R&B music for decades. Under Diddy's leadership, many artists rose to stardom, and he himself became a symbol of success, wealth, and business acumen. However, behind the brilliant halo, he also faced many controversies that caused a stir in public opinion. Over the years, Diddy's name has been continuously associated with shocking lawsuits and accusations. Although he has always denied them, asserting that he is the victim of slander, the scandals have continued to surround him, making his image increasingly complicated in the public eye. Now, all eyes are on the upcoming investigations and trials, which will determine whether Diddy can protect the empire he has built. Whatever the outcome, the case is sure to leave a lasting mark on his career. What do you think of the controversy surrounding Diddy? Share your thoughts below. Harrison Norris Jr., also known as Hardbody Harrison Rose, was a familiar face in the professional wrestling scene in the 1990s when he competed in WCW. After leaving the ring, he continued to prove his strength with an impressive victory on the FX Toughman show in 2000. It was thought that this would be the springboard for a new and promising journey, but instead, Norris's life turned into a path full of scandal and tragedy. Under the guise of someone who could help others reach their dreams of professional wrestling, Norris took advantage of the trust of many women with attractive promises. But behind those sweet words was a cruel reality, where freedom was cruelly controlled. These actions quickly caught the attention of the investigating agency, and as the evidence piled up, the empire that Norris built completely collapsed. In November 2007, he was officially sentenced to life in prison, permanently ending a once promising career. From a former wrestler with high expectations, he became a harsh example of the price to pay for abusing fame and power. In April 2021, Josh Duggar, a familiar face from the show 19 Kids and Counting, shocked the public when he was involved in a serious accusation related to possessing unauthorized documents. The case quickly became the center of controversy, attracting great attention from the public and the media. After months of trial, in December 2021, the jury officially declared Duggar guilty. In May 2022, the court issued a final verdict, sentencing him to 12 years and 7 months in federal prison, emphasizing that he would not enjoy any form of clemency during his sentence. Not only that, even after his prison term is over, Duggar will still be under strict supervision for the next 20 years, a fact that will certainly deeply affect his personal life going forward. Amidst the fierce criticism from the public, his wife, Anna Duggar, has remained steadfast by her husband's side, despite considerable public pressure. Currently, Duggar is serving his sentence at FCI Seagoville Correctional Facility, Texas. If nothing changes, he could be released when he turns 48. However, with the lingering consequences and the scrutiny of public opinion, the journey ahead will certainly be full of thorns. Harvey Weinstein was once one of the most powerful figures in Hollywood, behind classics such as Pulp Fiction, Scream, and Gangs of New York. However, that halo quickly collapsed in 2017 when a series of serious allegations of misconduct were exposed. The incident not only shocked the entertainment industry, but also became a catalyst for the #MeToo movement, opening up a strong dialogue about the abuse of power in the film industry. When the curtain of silence was exposed, a series of brave women spoke up, including prominent names such as Salma Hayek, Rose McGowan, and Ashley Judd. Ashley Judd shared her haunting experience of being constantly pressured by Weinstein despite her steadfast refusal. Those stories not only exposed the dark side of Hollywood, but also sparked a wide-ranging debate about the changes needed in the entertainment industry. The consequences followed soon after. Weinstein was kicked out of the Producers Guild of America, stripped of his position at the company he founded, and faced legal trouble. In 2020, he was sentenced to 23 years in prison in New York, and in 2022, a California court sentenced him to another 16 years on similar charges. In 2024, Weinstein won a legal victory when the New York conviction was overturned. But at 72, with a string of convictions still outstanding and his reputation in tatters, there is little chance of a comeback. Weinstein's story serves as a stark reminder that no power is above morality, and it reinforces society's resolve to uphold justice and fairness. Skylar Julius DeLeon, who had a small role in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, shocked the public when he was involved in a serious case in California in 2004. With the ambition to seize property, he and his accomplices set up a cruel plan to rob the yacht of retired couple Tom and Jackie Hawks. The victims just wanted to enjoy a peaceful old age with their families, but their kindness was exploited in a cold and calculating plot. The case caused outrage not only because of its brutality, but also because of the inhumanity of the mastermind. This action took the lives of 2 innocent people, leaving their families with irreparable pain. After the trial, in 2008, DeLeon was sentenced to death. However, due to a stay of execution in California, he is still serving his sentence at San Quentin Prison, one of the state's strictest prisons. The incident is a stark reminder of the cruel consequences of greed and shows that a glamorous past or fame cannot hide sin. Once a known actor, DeLeon is now a clear example that wrongdoing comes at a cost, and that justice will always speak out against unforgivable crimes. Oscar Pistorius was once a symbol of extraordinary determination, overcoming adversity to conquer the pinnacle of sport. Having lost both legs since childhood, he not only dominated the Paralympic arena, but also made history as the first disabled athlete to compete in the Olympics. Pistorius's success broke all limits, inspired strong feelings, and became a living testament to the strong will and indomitable spirit. However, that halo quickly faded in 2013 when a shocking event occurred. Pistorius shot and killed his girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp in her own home. He claimed that he mistook her for an intruder, but the investigation revealed many controversial details, raising questions about the true nature of the incident. The relationship between the two was said to be tense, making Pistorius's testimony the focus of debate. The trial attracted global attention, and in 2015 he was sentenced to 6 years in prison. The tragedy not only shook the sporting world, but also sparked far-reaching debates about justice and personal responsibility. From an inspirational role model, Pistorius became clear evidence that no matter how glorious or talented, every action has consequences, and no one can escape responsibility. Zach Avery, whose real name is Zachary Horwitz, was once considered a promising face in Hollywood, but instead of shining on screen, he became the center of one of the biggest financial scams in the entertainment industry. With his confident demeanor and flashy appearance, Horwitz built up the image of a successful businessman, convincing investors that he had lucrative film distribution deals with big guys like HBO and Netflix. However, it was all just an elaborate drama. Since 2015, Horwitz has used fake contracts to steal hundreds of millions of dollars from more than 250 investors through the company One NMM Capital. The films listed in the licensing catalog, such as The Devil Below, You're Not Alone, and Curvature, were actually just a cover for a huge fraud scheme. Hundreds of investors lost their money, while much of the stolen money was funneled into a lavish lifestyle. But no drama can last forever. Horwitz was eventually sentenced to 20 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $230 million in restitution to his victims. Zach Avery's story is a reminder of the potential pitfalls of investing and the importance of transparency in the entertainment industry. No matter how perfect the cover, the truth will eventually come out. Colin Rashad Walker, the actor who starred in Superfly, shocked the public when he was caught up in a series of serious allegations. Arrested in 2018, he faced multiple charges related to misconduct dating back to 2013. According to prosecutors, Walker used his fame in the entertainment industry to approach and deceive women, especially young models, with promises of promising career opportunities. Using social media as a tool, Walker created an image of an influencer, opening doors that seemed to lead to success. He invited his victims to participate in professional photo shoots or collaborate on big projects, but behind the glamorous facade was a shocking truth. As the investigation expanded, more than a dozen women bravely spoke out, exposing how he used his trust to manipulate and control his victims. In October 2022, Walker was formally convicted of multiple felony charges and sentenced to 50 years in prison. Although some of the charges were not conclusive, the jury found that he had used his position to manipulate gullible people. The verdict means that Walker will not be eligible for parole until 2070, meaning he will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. The case is a wake-up call, highlighting the importance of protecting vulnerable people and combating abuses of power. Justice has been served, and it is a harsh lesson for anyone who thinks that fame can cover up all mistakes. After the resounding success of Squid Game, Oh Young-soo quickly became a sought-after face globally. However, when his career was on the rise, he was suddenly caught up in a shocking legal scandal. In 2021, a woman accused the actor of inappropriate behavior during a meeting in 2017. Although the incident had been reported before, the police did not investigate due to lack of evidence. However, when Oh Young-soo's reputation exploded after Squid Game, the incident was suddenly reopened in 2022, leading to an official investigation. Throughout this process, Oh Young-soo firmly denied the accusation, asserting that it was just an unfortunate misunderstanding. He expressed regret if the other party felt uncomfortable but maintained his stance that he had not committed any wrongdoing. In late 2022, South Korean prosecutors decided to indict the actor on charges of non-consensual sex. Although not charged with serious crimes, the incident sparked heated debate. Shortly after, a promotional campaign by the Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism that featured him was suspended. The incident not only affected Oh Young-soo's image, but also raised many questions about the consequences that artists face when caught up in sensitive allegations. Public opinion remains divided. Some expressed disappointment, while others said a more balanced view is needed before making judgments. Welcome to Sweetie Pies was a popular reality TV show that followed Robbie Montgomery, a former backup singer for Ike and Tina Turner, on his journey to build a successful soul food restaurant empire. From 2011 to 2018, the show not only portrayed the development of the business, but also celebrated family bonds, bringing warm and inspiring stories. However, after the show ended, a terrible tragedy struck, leaving the Montgomery family and those who loved them in shock. In 2016, Andre Montgomery Jr., Robbie Montgomery's nephew, was murdered in St. Louis at the age of 21, leaving the family with an irreparable loss. Initially thought to be a heartbreaking tragedy, the shocking truth was revealed in 2020. Tim Norman, Robbie's son and a key character on the show, was arrested in connection with Andre's death. According to the indictment, Tim had taken out a life insurance policy worth hundreds of thousands of dollars on Andre and then arranged the murder for his own gain. The 2023 trial produced irrefutable evidence, from phone records, accomplices' statements, and other authentic documents, shedding light on Tim Norman's cold and calculated plot. He was eventually sentenced to life in prison, closing a dark chapter in a story that had been beloved by audiences. The case not only shocked the public, but also served as a grim reminder. When greed overshadows morality, even the closest relationships can be completely destroyed. Ryan Grantham, an actor who appeared in Riverdale and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, shocked the public in 2020 when he was involved in a serious family incident. At the age of 21, he made an irreversible decision, which had serious consequences. However, instead of hiding, Grantham chose to face the truth, proactively surrendering and reporting the entire incident to the authorities. This is a rare choice in similar situations, opening a chapter full of reflection on his own personality. During the trial, Grantham's mental health became an important factor to consider. Experts determined that he had been struggling with long-term depression and serious psychological problems before the incident. These revelations have not only sparked public sympathy, but also sparked a deep discussion about the importance of mental health, an issue that is still not given enough attention in modern society. While Grantham cannot change the past, he is forced to face the consequences of his actions. But his story is also a meaningful reminder that psychological trauma, if not understood and healed in time, can lead to unexpected and heartbreaking consequences. Amy Locane, the actress who made her mark as Sandy Harling on Melrose Place, fell into tragedy on June 27, 2010, when she was driving under the influence of alcohol, causing a tragic accident. Going at a speed exceeding the legal limit, she crashed into another car, killing 60-year-old Helen Seaman, while her husband Fred was seriously injured. Tests showed that Locane's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit, making the incident even more serious. The legal consequences were swift. Locane was charged with second-degree manslaughter and third-degree assault. In 2012, she was sentenced to 3 years in prison, a controversial decision that many felt was too lenient for the consequences of the accident. The judge took into account Locane's lack of criminal record and the fact that she was raising a young child before making the decision. However, the victim's family and prosecutors disagreed, leading to a series of appeals and retrials. After years of legal wrangling, Locane was resentenced in 2020 to 8 years in prison. She must serve a minimum of 6 years and 10 months before she is eligible for parole. She is currently serving her sentence at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women and recently had her appeal for a reduced sentence denied. Locane's story is a stark reminder of the dire consequences of drunk driving. A single moment of inattention can take a life and change the fate of all involved forever. Joe Sun, known to audiences through the movie Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, is currently serving a life sentence for serious crimes he committed before entering Hollywood. Before trying his hand at acting, Joe Sun pursued a career as an MMA fighter, but his achievements were completely lackluster as all of his fights ended in defeat. However, what is more shocking is not his troubled sports career, but his dark past associated with a horrific case that occurred on Christmas Eve, 1990. On that fateful night, Joe Sun and his accomplices kidnapped and severely assaulted a woman in Huntington Beach, California. The victim suffered terrible injuries before being released, but for nearly 2 decades, the case was at a standstill due to lack of solid evidence. It wasn't until 2008 that a surprising twist came to light. Joe Sun's DNA matched evidence at the scene, helping the police track down the culprit and close the case that had been thought to be forgotten. In 2011, the court sentenced him to 7 years to life in prison. But even after being incarcerated, his violent nature did not change. While serving his sentence, he continued to commit a serious attack that killed a fellow inmate, leading to an additional 27 years in prison in 2017, bringing his total sentence to 34 years to life. Having had the chance to shine in the entertainment industry, Joe Sun pushed himself into the abyss with unforgivable actions. His story is proof that no matter how long the past is buried, justice will still find the truth, and wrongdoing will eventually be punished. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. The stories of stars who once reached the pinnacle of fame but then lost it all because of their mistakes are reminders that no one can escape the consequences of their life choices. The aura of fame may be dazzling, but just one moment of mistake is enough to change everything. More importantly, each of us has the opportunity to look back, learn lessons, and grow from our failures. If you find today's story worth pondering, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming exciting content. See you in the next videos, and remember that responsibility is not just a burden, but also a compass that helps us walk firmly on the journey of life. There is an artist who is indispensable in the neo-soul wave with a unique, enchanting, and unmistakable falsetto voice. He once touched the pinnacle of glory, then suddenly withdrew from the spotlight without explanation. No scandal, no tricks, simply an artist who chose to remain silent while people were still waiting. That is Maxwell. So what is behind that silence? The pressure from expectations, the unspeakable losses, or the fatigue of a life that is too noisy. This time, we will explore the secrets and truths about him to better understand the reason he chose this path. Let's start this journey together. Maxwell, a name that makes any R&B music lover stop when the first melody is played. But behind those melodies, there is a story that is not easy, full of challenges and no shortage of quiet moments. Born in Brooklyn, New York, Maxwell is of mixed blood. His mother is Haitian, his father is Puerto Rican. His mother grew up in a strict Baptist family, where faith and discipline were the foundation of everything. But few people know that the deep roots from his mother, an important part of Maxwell's personality, are often forgotten. He once shared, "I was a first-generation Brooklyn, and sometimes I felt like I wasn't black enough. It is a feeling that not everyone understands." Maxwell's life changed forever when his father died in a plane crash when he was only 3 years old. The death of his father was a huge shock, leaving his mother to support the family, raising him alone in the difficult East New York area. It was in those seemingly hopeless times that Maxwell found strength within himself. Those years were the foundation, the core that created a sensitive but steadfast Maxwell, always eager to seek the truth through music. When he was 17, Maxwell received a small but fateful gift, an old Casio keyboard. For many people, it was just a toy, but for Maxwell, it was the door that opened a whole new world. He began to tinker with composition, learned how to play musical instruments, and music became a way for him to express the deep emotions that he always kept inside. That feeling, like finding a voice for things that could not be expressed in words. Maxwell was immersed in 80s R&B, the smooth beats of Patrice Rushen, SOS Band, or Rolls-Royce, where electronic music blended perfectly with live instruments. It was music that he felt was genuine, immersed in emotion, something that was gradually disappearing as the music world was gradually dominated by hip-hop. Maxwell loved R&B not only for the melody, but for the deep connection with the soul, with the emotions. Despite the differences in appearance and introverted personality, Maxwell did not give up his own identity. He grew his hair long, styled his sideburns, braided his hair in his own style, and never left music. Music, for him, was his constant companion. In 1991, he started performing in small clubs in New York, spending hours in a 24-track studio recording and composing. In just 2 years, he composed more than 300 songs, expressing a never-ending desire. The turning point came from a night at the Nell's Club in Manhattan. When Maxwell sang, his music was more than just a melody. It was a part of his heart, of the life he had lived. A writer for Vibe magazine called him the next prince of R&B. Maxwell's name began to blossom and become known to many people. In 1994, Maxwell signed a contract with Columbia Records. The name Maxwell was not only a stage name, but also a symbol of privacy, self-protection in the noisy music world. He chose to keep himself separate, not letting anyone easily guess everything about him. From an old Casio to the big stage lights, Maxwell's journey is not only a story of talent, but also a journey of a heart that is constantly burning with passion. He did not choose the easy path, but pursued his own path, full of challenges and hardships, and it is that perseverance that has helped him become an irreplaceable icon in the R&B music industry, an artist who lives true to himself, although sometimes that path is lonely, but always full of emotions. After reaching the peak of his career, Maxwell surprised the world when he suddenly withdrew from the spotlight without explanation. New hits were no longer available, he was absent from the media, and he did not appear at any major events. That silence gave rise to many questions and rumors, from partying, stimulants, to speculations about personal crises. But the reality is much simpler and deeper. Maxwell did not collapse, did not lose himself. He simply chose to step back, a deliberate decision. After years of dedication to music, he felt the need for a quiet time to recharge, to maintain his personal identity and find peace of mind. Maxwell was an introverted, quiet, and profound person. Although the spotlight could be dazzling, the life around him could make a sensitive soul like Maxwell feel suffocated. Taking a break is not a sign of weakness, but a journey to find balance, both physically and mentally. He once shared that he needed time to take care of himself, something that few people remember that artists need just like anyone else. Most importantly, Maxwell has never followed the taste or pressure from the public. He only releases music when he feels truly ready, when his emotions are deep enough and the message is meaningful enough. Therefore, his music is always sincere, delicate, and touches the hearts of listeners. In a world where image and social media increasingly dominate art, Maxwell's silence is not a void but a strong declaration. That true music does not need to be ostentatious. It needs to be listened to, felt, and most importantly, the truth. Maxwell chose to be true to himself, and that is what created an irreplaceable musical icon. When Maxwell returned after many years of absence, the first thing that caught people's attention was not a loud comeback or brilliant performances, but his voice, a legendary falsetto that once shook the R&B world. This time it was no longer just the familiar melodies, but a different Maxwell, with each note resounding like a deep confession, cherished over time, through the days he quietly lived outside the spotlight, finding himself again. People said Maxwell had changed, and it was true, but not because of long slips or rumors. He had faced a serious health problem, vocal cord hemorrhage, a sign that every singer fears. Instead of trying to sing to maintain his reputation, Maxwell chose to step back, to heal and protect the most precious thing, the authenticity in his voice. When he returned, he did not try to recreate the old image. Maxwell embraces change, that age, pain, and long, lonely nights have left their mark on his voice. But that's what makes his music more authentic and intimate than ever. Maxwell's music has never been accessible at first. It's not rushed, not catchy in a commercial way. It requires the listener to stop and feel. Each of his albums is a story, a chapter of his life written from real feelings and emotions, not according to a release schedule. With Black Summer's Night, especially with Pretty Wings, Maxwell has reasserted his position not through loudness, but through depth. He doesn't adjust his voice, doesn't hide his shaky notes, because for him, it's the imperfections that create truth in music. In a world where R&B is easily diluted by trends and technology, Maxwell has remained steadfast in his own path, not because he wants to be different, but because he is true to his own identity. He doesn't make music to please algorithms or market trends, but to create an emotional legacy that has lasting value. During Black History Month, Maxwell caused a stir when he shared a controversial message. He asserted that this month should be a time to celebrate all people, regardless of skin color, along with an image of the American flag and a portrait of Lena Horne, a legendary Black icon in American culture. At first glance, it may sound like a message of peace and unity, but the truth is not that simple. Immediately, the storm arose. Maxwell's post not only received criticism, but also sparked a heated debate. Many people thought that he was blurring the meaning of Black History Month, a month dedicated to honoring the contributions of the Black community, who have been marginalized throughout history. This is not a time to include everyone, but to focus on those who have been forgotten. Maxwell's message was considered insensitive and even ill-timed. Not stopping there, Maxwell faced more trouble when fans began to bring up his previous controversial statements, especially the time he replaced Black Lives Matter with Human Lives Matter. For many, this was a dilution of the powerful message of the Black community, a subtle change that made everyone question, does Maxwell truly understand and appreciate what this community has done for him? The story didn't stop with the tweets. A longtime fan who had been with him for years publicly criticized Maxwell's new album. And when this person sarcastically said that Black ancestors would not be proud of you, instead of listening and explaining, Maxwell responded with a personal message full of insults. The message was quickly exposed, and a completely different picture of Maxwell began to form. Fans were stunned by the stark contrast between his polished stage image and his real-life reactions. The disappointment doesn't stop with his fans. The Black women's community, who have supported and uplifted Maxwell throughout his career, feel betrayed, not only by his views, but also by his lack of listening and respect for those who have always believed in him. For Maxwell, music used to be a place where he could express his most genuine emotions, a place where he could express things that could not be put into words. But now, his career is at a major crossroads. One tweet, one unbridled reaction, is enough to shake the image of Maxwell as a symbol of romance and love. The big question now is, does Maxwell still maintain his connection with the Black community, or has he lost himself in his high-profile career? With all that happening, Maxwell now faces a struggle. Between his music and the community he's built, can he regain the trust he lost? Maxwell took the world by storm in 1996 with the release of Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite, an album that was not only his personal signature, but also a milestone in the neo-soul genre. However, his road to success was not smooth. Before the album's release, Maxwell faced a tense confrontation with Columbia Records. They wanted to feature his image on the album cover to attract attention, but he firmly refused. For Maxwell, the music was the most important thing. He did not want his messy, curly hair, deep eyes, or mysterious demeanor to be a marketing tool. Maxwell wanted listeners to feel the music before seeing the man behind it. That's why the cover of Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite did not feature any image of him. It was just the track list and production information, a bold decision in an industry where appearance is often considered the deciding factor. After that decision, Maxwell realized that fame can be seductive, but it can also easily make you lose yourself. He soon realized the temptation of the spotlight, and fortunately, he had close friends who had known him since he was 17, who always reminded him to stay true to himself and not let fame overshadow his true self. Maxwell never rushed his career. He took the time to listen to himself, choose his own path, and not be swept away by trends or market tastes. When fame came, he quickly became the ideal model for many women. But instead of looking for bold looks, Maxwell paid attention to the shy eyes, those who remained silent in the crowd. His music was a voice for the emotions that could not be expressed, so that everyone felt special, connected, and understood. Before his success, Maxwell had been on the sidelines, watching other artists rise to prominence while he struggled to find his footing. The process was fraught with skepticism and at times frustrating. However, there were people at Columbia who believed in him and quietly pushed the project forward despite the skepticism. Maxwell has always credited these people for helping him get Urban Hang Suite out into the world. When the song started playing on the radio, the initial response wasn't exactly what he expected. Maxwell's style, heavily influenced by West Indian culture, set him apart from his R&B contemporaries, who were mostly from the American South with traditional musical influences. Maxwell was an unlikely choice, but his music needed no justification. It spoke to listeners without explanation. His voice was smooth, soulful, and the storytelling that went into each melody worked wonders. Gradually, the public not only accepted, but also loved his unique style. Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite became a huge success, not because of the image on the album cover, but because the music really made people feel deeply. The decision to not put his image on the album cover became a strong statement. Maxwell is not a star who depends on fame or appearance. He is a true artist who always puts music above all else, maintaining his identity in a world that easily forgets the true value of art. Maxwell returned on June 30th, 1998 with his second album, Embrya. But this time, his return was nothing like the smash hit Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite. Embrya was a completely different musical world, abstract, layered, and not immediately accessible. Some critics found the album too complex in its arrangements, lacking the intimacy and fluidity that people loved about his previous album. But for Maxwell, that was the goal. Embrya was a declaration of his creative freedom. Maxwell did not want to repeat himself. He did not follow old tastes or formulas, but chose to take his own path, bumpy but full of courage. This album was a journey into emotional depths, where each melody was like a piece of soul searching for the truth. Maxwell knew he was leaving his comfort zone, but for him, true art had to be somewhat daring and different. Over time, people began to see and appreciate Embrya as a work ahead of its time, both fragile and enchanting. Although initially considered hard to listen to, the album went platinum in 1999, selling over 1 million copies and winning the Soul Train Award for Best Male R&B/Soul Album. Columbia Records reissued the album on its 20th anniversary as a belated but well-deserved recognition. In late 1999, Maxwell returned to the spotlight with Fortunate, a soulful love song written by R. Kelly for the film Life. The song immediately took the #1 spot on the Billboard R&B chart and became Maxwell's most successful single of his career. It was a moment that affirmed that Maxwell was more than just an artist with artistic talent. He also had a strong appeal to the public when needed. In 2001, Maxwell released his third album, Now. Unlike Embrya, Now had a simpler, more straightforward narrative and immediately became a huge success. The album sold nearly 300,000 copies in its first week and took Maxwell to #1 on the Billboard 200. Now was quickly certified platinum and catapulted him to new heights in the contemporary R&B genre. Now is not without its unforgettable love songs such as Lifetime, which entered the top 5 on the R&B chart, or This Woman's Work, a cover that made listeners choke up with genuine emotions. Although some critics said Now was not as groundbreaking as expected, its score of 78/100ths on Metacritic still proves great recognition from experts. After all the glory and success, Maxwell decided to stay quiet. He made no announcements, no scandals, and no noisy breakups. He quietly withdrew from the spotlight. In the years that followed, there were no new albums, no shows, but Maxwell's music was still present in the late nights when people needed a voice that understood and melodies that spoke for their moods. Maxwell was not an artist who appeared continuously, but each time he appeared, it was an unforgettable time. Maxwell surprised fans and the music world when he returned in October 2018 with Shame, a mesmerizing track that opened Night, the final chapter in a trilogy he had been quietly nurturing for nearly a decade. From Black Summer's Night, 2009, to Black Summer's Night, 2016, and finally Night. These were not just 3 albums, but 3 stages, 3 slices of Maxwell's journey to explore the depths of his soul. Each part of this trilogy is a reflection of an aspect of his inner self, from the sweet, burning moments of love to the darkness of loss to the bitter awakening. In April 2019, Maxwell continued to reignite his fire by re-releasing his early music in digital format. In the era of digital music that passes by like a breeze, he is not in a hurry, but skillfully brings listeners back to the first milestone where everything began. And when announcing the tour at the end of the year, he did not need to show off. Just a simple, sincere, quiet, but no less powerful return. In September 2019, Maxwell continued to captivate the audience when performing 4 consecutive nights at the Kennedy Center, considered one of the most prestigious stages in the United States. Accompanying him was the National Symphony Orchestra, bringing a musical space that was both splendid and profound. Maxwell's melodies, which already had a cinematic breath, were now taken to a new level, where each sound seemed to intertwine with vague memories, bringing a gentle yet lingering feeling. And then, 4 years later, in September 2023, Maxwell continued to conquer the hearts of music lovers with 3 performances at the Hollywood Bowl. It was not just a concert, but a sacred ritual where the artist and the audience came together in music and emotion. Maxwell has affirmed that he is not only a music star, but also an artist who can deeply connect with the audience, listen to their hearts, and bring melodies that touch the deepest emotions. As one of the first people to lay the foundation for neo-soul music, Maxwell, along with D'Angelo and Erykah Badu, shaped a special musical style, a blend of classic R&B soul and contemporary creativity. The albums Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite, D'Angelo's Brown Sugar, and Erykah Badu's Baduism are not only successful works, but also manifestos for a new generation of artists, sensitive, profound, and powerful. If D'Angelo is the one who plays with boundaries and roughness, Maxwell is the embodiment of smoothness, sophistication, and romance. His music is like a whisper of understanding for the soul, not loud, not bustling, but enough to stir the emotional depths in the hearts of listeners. The Weeknd, one of the most prominent contemporary artists, has expressed his admiration for Maxwell, and he is not the only one. Maxwell's gentle melodies and poetic lyrics have inspired countless other artists who also seek truth and beauty in every sound, as Maxwell himself did. In a 1997 interview, Maxwell once said, "All creativity comes from the past. When you look into the eyes of a child, you will see the image of its parents." For Maxwell, music is the eternal connection between generations, between memories and the present, between what is past and what is yet to come. The Washington Post once called Maxwell the Marvin Gaye of the 90s, not only because of his captivating voice, but also because of his ability to convey powerful emotions. From passionate love to deep sorrow, from intense desire to quiet loneliness. While many artists of his time had to depend on record labels, Maxwell chose a bold path, controlling every aspect of his own composition and production, a decision that was not easy but very courageous. Musician Carol Brennan also commented, "Maxwell, along with the Fugees and Tony Rich, are representatives of a new generation of R&B artists, not only performing but also writing lyrics that are deeply personal." With his smooth voice, genuine emotions, and clear artistic vision, Maxwell not only followed trends but also contributed to creating a new genre, a new generation of music. Maxwell is proof that music can be a journey of self-discovery, without the noise but still resonates forever in the hearts of listeners. If you love the stories behind the spotlight, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Because behind every artist is a world, and we will continue to bring you closer to those worlds. Welcome to our channel. Hollywood is always sparkling under the spotlight of fame, but hidden behind it are dark corners that few people dare to mention. There are stars who once stood at the peak of their careers, praised by the whole world, but in just one wrong moment, everything suddenly went up in smoke. From shocking scandals, getting involved in illegal substances, to breaking the law, they not only lost their halo, but also had to pay the price with bitter consequences. In this video, we will review 25 actors who once dominated the screen, but fell behind because of wrong decisions. Are there any names that surprise you? Let's explore now. Shannon Richardson, the actress who appeared in *The Walking Dead* and *The Vampire Diaries*, could have continued her artistic career. But instead of making an impression on the screen, she shocked the whole country in 2013 with an unforgivable crime, sending letters containing the poison ricin to former President Barack Obama and New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. The deadly toxin mentioned in *Breaking Bad* caused extreme panic across the United States. At that time, Richardson's marriage to her ex-husband Nathan was on the brink of collapse. In a calculated plot, she concocted an elaborate plan to frame her husband, using him as a scapegoat. But thinking she could get away with it, she didn't expect that investigators would quickly uncover the truth. Richardson was the real mastermind behind the incident. The price she paid for that crime was an 18-year prison sentence for using a poison to threaten national security. From a little-known actress, Shannon Richardson suddenly becomes the center of a shocking story of blind ambition, dangerous deception, and the dire consequences of wrong actions. Sean "Diddy" Combs, music legend, famous producer, is caught up in a large-scale investigation, attracting the attention of the public and the media. Authorities are actively collecting evidence, questioning witnesses, and analyzing a series of documents to clarify all aspects of the case. In the face of criticism, Diddy affirmed that he will fully cooperate with the investigation agency and is determined to protect his honor and the career that he has worked hard to build over decades. Amid the whirlwind of public opinion, Sean Combs firmly denied all accusations, emphasizing that he is completely innocent. He believes that the accusations against him come from personal motives, aiming to destroy the reputation and legacy that he has built. With absolute faith in justice, Diddy declared that he will fight to the end to protect his image as well as the trust of millions of fans, those who have accompanied him through many ups and downs. The investigation has not only shaken the entertainment industry, but also raised major questions about ethics, personal responsibility, and transparency in the music industry. The public is watching every development with the hope that the truth will soon be revealed, bringing justice to all parties involved and protecting the legacy of a musical icon who has left a deep mark on history. Zach Avery, whose real name is Zachary Horwitz, was once a promising face in Hollywood. But instead of shining on the screen, he shook the entertainment industry with a shocking financial fraud worth $650 million. Under the guise of a successful businessman, Horwitz fabricated a story about the company 1NMM Capital, claiming to have signed exclusive contracts with giants like HBO and Netflix to buy film copyrights, opening up lucrative investment opportunities. With carefully prepared financial reports and a list of blockbuster films such as Asterisk, The Devil Below Asterisk, You're Not Alone Asterisk and Asterisk, Curvature Asterisk, he easily convinced more than 250 investors to invest without any doubts. But behind the flashy promises was a scam of the century. The FBI investigated and discovered that all contracts, agreements, and financial reports were just fake papers. Hundreds of millions of dollars were not invested as promised, but were misappropriated by Horwitz to support a lavish lifestyle, from million-dollar mansions, luxury supercars, to lavish parties in the heart of Hollywood. When the truth was revealed, the financial empire he had worked so hard to build collapsed, leaving hundreds of investors penniless. The price to pay was 20 years in prison and $230 million in compensation. The case was not only a wake-up call for investors, but also a valuable lesson about greed and gullibility in the face of empty promises. Hollywood is glamorous, but behind the spotlight always lurks a dark and risky corner, a place where honesty, transparency, and compliance with the law are the only foundations for sustainable existence. Michael Jace was once a familiar face on the small screen, making a lasting impression as Officer Julian on FX's hit series Asterisk, The Shield Asterisk. He also starred in popular works such as Asterisk Forrest Gump Asterisk and Asterisk Boogie Nights Asterisk, building a solid career with a promising future. But then everything went to dust in 2014, when an irreversible tragedy turned him from a talented actor into a criminal. In a moment of loss of control at his home in Hyde Park, Los Angeles, Jace took the life of his wife, April Jace, a talented athlete, right in front of their 2 young children. The shock not only took away a wife and a mother, but also left behind irreparable pain for his family and loved ones. The subsequent trial exposed the haunting hidden corners behind the tragedy. Prosecutors pointed to financial pressure, mental stress, and the effects of alcohol as possible factors that pushed Jace to that fateful moment. But whatever the reason, justice is not lenient toward violent behavior. He was eventually convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 40 years to life in prison. In court, Jace choked up and said in remorse, "I am deeply sorry for the pain I caused. There is no excuse for what I did that night." Michael Jace is currently serving time in the California State Prison. His story is not only a personal tragedy, but also a harsh warning. Just one moment of anger, one bad decision can destroy an entire life and leave wounds that will never heal in the hearts of those left behind. William Hayden, former star of the Discovery Channel reality show Asterisk Sons of Guns Asterisk, was once an icon in the world of custom firearms. With talent and passion, he ran the Louisiana workshop Red Jacket Firearms, a name synonymous with unique weapon designs that attracted a wide audience. But behind the TV spotlight, a shocking shock caused Hayden's entire career to collapse beyond repair. In 2014, an investigation by the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office brought to light a shocking truth. The evidence gathered quickly sparked a wave of public outrage, leading to the complete collapse of the empire that Hayden had built. From a man honored on television, he became the center of a shocking case. At trial, Hayden faced the harshest sentence the law could give: life in prison without the possibility of parole. This was not only a deterrent verdict, but also a strong affirmation that justice does not tolerate any wrongdoing. William Hayden's case not only shook public opinion, but also set a profound lesson for the entertainment and media industry. It proved that fame and success cannot hide the truth. Even at the peak of fame, every action will be judged fairly, because justice is always the light that illuminates every dark corner. Allison Mack was once a familiar face on the small screen, making a deep impression with her role as Chloe Sullivan in the hit series Smallville*. With the image of a strong, independent woman and a promising career, she became an inspiration to many audiences. However, behind that halo was a shocking truth. Mack was involved in a secret organization called DOS, operating under the cover of the NXIVM group founded by Keith Raniere. In 2018, the FBI uncovered the dark secrets of DOS, a system disguised as personal development but actually operated as a sophisticated network of control. Women were psychologically manipulated, forced to follow harsh rules, and even branded with hot irons as a symbol of ownership. Mack was not only a member but also played an active role in recruitment and surveillance, shocking the public when the truth was revealed. After her arrest, she quickly pleaded guilty and cooperated with the investigation, providing crucial information that helped bring Keith Raniere to justice. As a result, Mack received a more lenient sentence than many of her co-defendants, just 3 years in prison, while Raniere was sentenced to up to 120 years. In July 2023, Allison Mack was released early, sparking fierce public debate. Many questioned the fairness of the sentence as well as the accountability of the individuals involved. Mack's story is not only shocking, but also a reminder of the dangers of psychological manipulation, abuse of power, and the importance of justice in protecting vulnerable people from sophisticated systems of exploitation. Drew Drexel, once one of the brightest stars of American Ninja Warrior *, suddenly fell into a serious scandal, leaving the public shocked. From an athlete admired for his extraordinary performances, he quickly became the center of criticism when shocking allegations came to light. Drexel was immediately removed from the 12th season of the NBC show, marking the irreversible downfall of a sports icon who had inspired so many people. It all started when a young fan accused Drexel of having crossed the line at a meet and greet. The FBI investigation that followed revealed many shocking details, not only an inappropriate relationship, but also more serious allegations behind it. As the truth gradually came to light, public opinion immediately rose up, raising questions about the ethical responsibilities of people with great influence. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Drexel admitted to his actions but claimed he was unaware of the victim's true age. However, this does not change the fact that he is being prosecuted on 2 serious charges. If convicted, he could face up to 40 years in prison for the first charge and 20 years for the second, along with a substantial fine. Drexel is currently being held at the Philadelphia Federal Detention Center, awaiting a final decision. He has gone from an inspirational sports icon to a valuable lesson in personal responsibility and moral boundaries. Once the public trust is lost, no amount of glory can compensate or redeem the consequences. Kaylan Walker was once a promising face in Hollywood, making his mark with his role in Superfly 2018, where he recreated a charming image full of the spirit of the 70s. Before that, he also appeared in King's 2017, alongside top stars like Halle Berry and Daniel Craig. But just as the halo was just beginning to bloom, Walker's career quickly went downhill, drowned by serious allegations, causing his image in the public eye to completely collapse. It all started in September 2018, when Walker was accused of taking advantage of his job to commit inappropriate acts with 4 models. Initially, he was released on bail of up to $1 million. But the case did not stop there. Just a few months later, in March 2019, more victims came forward with compelling evidence, taking the investigation to a whole new level. The public was shocked by the severity of the case, and Walker's image quickly became the focus of criticism. After a lengthy trial, Walker was convicted of 9 serious crimes. Judge Joseph Brandolino sentenced him to 50 years in prison and ordered him to register as a sex offender as required by law. Walker's story is a stark reminder that fame cannot shield anyone from the consequences of wrongdoing. When the spotlight is turned off, only responsibility and retribution remain. In a world where fame can take someone to the top or sink them in an instant, no one is above the law, no matter who they are. Joe Exotic was once known as a wildlife enthusiast who ran the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park in Oklahoma. However, his life took an unexpected turn when the Netflix documentary series Tiger King ** debuted in 2020, turning him into a global phenomenon. With his eccentric style, explosive personality, and dramatic conflicts, Joe quickly became the center of public attention. However, the spotlight did not last long when in September 2018 he was unexpectedly arrested in a shocking case. The investigation revealed that Joe Exotic had planned to hire someone to carry out a dangerous act targeting Carole Baskin, an animal rights activist and his arch-rival. For years, Carole had repeatedly accused Joe of animal abuse, causing the conflict between the two to escalate. The plot culminated in December 2017 when Joe approached an undercover FBI agent and offered $110,000 to carry out the plan. The case became even more intriguing when the mysterious disappearance of Don Lewis, Carole's ex-husband, turned Joe Exotic's story into one of the most talked-about events. In 2019, Joe was convicted of 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder and 17 counts of animal cruelty, including killing 5 tigers and falsifying zoo records. Although Carole was unable to hold Joe responsible for her husband's disappearance, the verdict shocked the public and sparked heated debate. After several appeals, Joe's sentence was reduced from 22 years to 21 years in prison in January 2022. Despite the legal turmoil and criticism, the story of Joe Exotic continues to attract worldwide attention, becoming one of the most controversial cases in the entertainment industry. Skylar Julius DeLeon once dreamed of becoming a movie star, appearing in the Power Rangers series in hopes of finding a place in the entertainment industry. But instead of shining on the screen, his life took a dark turn, becoming the center of a shocking case in America. In 2004, Skylar and his wife, Jennifer DeLeon, planned to seize the luxury yacht of Thomas and Jackie Hawks, who were selling this precious asset. But instead of carrying out a legal transaction, they chose the most brutal way, tying up the 2 victims and throwing them into the ocean, letting the waves wash away all traces. The case was deadlocked for many years until an accomplice decided to turn himself in, revealing the whole truth. In 2009, Skylar was sentenced to death. However, due to a stay of execution in California, the sentence has not yet been carried out. Skylar's story took a different turn in 2009 when he began hormone therapy to transition, officially becoming Skylar Preciosa DeLeon. While this transition marked a new chapter in his life, his past crimes remained a stain that could not be erased. From aspiring young actor to notorious criminal, Skylar's journey is a bitter testament to the wrong choices, where dreams of fame can be forever crushed when the darkness of sin engulfs everything. Danny Masterson, who made his mark as Stephen Hyde on ** That 70s Show**, had a promising career, starring alongside Ashton Kutcher in projects like ** Men at Work ** and ** The Ranch**. But the spotlight was short-lived when serious allegations emerged, not only drowning his reputation but also dragging the actor into a legal spiral with no way out. In 2017, Masterson became the focus of an investigation by the Los Angeles Police Department after 3 women accused him of sexual assault between 2001 and 2003. According to testimony, the incidents took place right at the actor's home, where he allegedly took advantage of alcohol to make the victims lose control before committing acts of coercion. Despite repeatedly denying and asserting his innocence, Masterson was still prosecuted on 3 serious charges. The first trial ended in a no-conviction hearing, but a jury found Masterson guilty on 2 of the 3 counts. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after only 25 years. The actor is now serving time in a California correctional facility, facing the reality that his career and life have been forever changed. One of the most controversial aspects of the case is Masterson's connection to the Church of Scientology. Both he and his victims were members of the organization, and some whistleblowers have said they were thwarted in their efforts to come forward. They have accused the church of trying to protect Masterson, while Scientology has maintained that it is not above the law and has denied any interference. Danny Masterson's story marks not only the downfall of a Hollywood star, but also raises questions about justice, accountability, and the forces behind the scenes. It is also a reminder that no matter how great the fame, wrongdoing comes at a cost, and that justice must always be served. Paul Tutul Sr., the brilliant founder of Orange County Choppers is not only a legend in the custom motorcycle world, but also an embodiment of resilience and indomitable spirit. His journey is not simply a story of building an iconic brand, but also an epic of iron will, where he constantly faced legal and financial crises and seemingly insurmountable challenges. Throughout his career, Paul has repeatedly fallen into a spiral of lawsuits, tax pressures, and mounting debt, events that could sink any business. However, instead of giving up, he chose to face adversity, turn things around with bold strategies, and bring Orange County Choppers through the storm. Under his talented hands and sharp vision, each car is not simply a means of transportation, but also a work of mechanical art, bearing an unmistakable personal mark, affirming the brand's solid position in the competitive industry. Not only a businessman, Paul is also an endless source of inspiration for the community of custom car enthusiasts. He constantly innovates, expands cooperation, and takes the brand beyond traditional borders. Paul Tutul Sr.'s journey is a living testament to his steely fortitude, limitless creativity, and extraordinary adaptability. Qualities that not only help him stand firm, but also thrive in the face of adversity. Zara Fithian, a former Marvel Universe actress, fell into a serious legal spiral in 2022, sending her career into a tailspin. Along with her husband, Mark, she faced shocking allegations that rocked the entertainment industry and sparked fierce debates about the ethics of influencers. The case not only dealt a heavy blow to her personal reputation, but also raised painful questions about the true limits of power and fame in the entertainment industry. The aura of the art world not only brings admiration, but also comes with great responsibility to the public. A positive image not only shapes an individual's career, but also has a profound impact on the fan community and the entire industry. Scandals like this force the public to ask, what responsibility do the media and audiences have in monitoring and guiding the behavior of famous individuals? Transparency, ethics, and personal responsibility are not only the yardsticks, but also the core foundations for building a healthy artistic environment, where fame is not just about popularity, but also a symbol of prestige and trust. These shocking events have further emphasized the importance of maintaining ethical standards in the entertainment industry, an indispensable element for an industry that is not only sustainable, but also truly inspiring for future generations. Amy Locane was a rising star in Hollywood in the 1990s, making her mark alongside Johnny Depp in Cry Baby and earning critical acclaim for her performance in Blue Sky, for which she was nominated for a Young Artist Award. Amy's career continued to soar when she starred in Melrose Place a hit series that took the small screen by storm and cemented her status in the entertainment industry. But that all changed one fateful night. On June 27, 2010, while driving at 53 miles per hour, well over the legal limit, Amy caused a fatal accident that took the life of Fred Seaman's wife, Helen Seaman. Tests showed her blood alcohol level was above the legal limit, and she was convicted of second-degree manslaughter and vehicular assault. Amy was initially sentenced to 3 years in prison, but after a review, the sentence was increased to 8 years. She is currently serving her sentence at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility in New Jersey, with the hope of being considered for parole on December 20th, 2024. The tragedy of Amy Locane is not only a personal story, but also a harsh reminder of the unpredictable consequences of uncontrolled decisions. Fame or success cannot exempt anyone from legal responsibility. Just a moment of carelessness, a wrong choice can push a life from the peak to the abyss, not only for the offender but also for the innocent victims. This is a valuable lesson in responsibility, ethics, and alertness at the wheel, a message that never gets old in modern society. Ryan Grantham was once a promising young star, making his mark with the role of Rodney James in Diary of a Wimpy Kid*, 2010, and appearing in hit works such as The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, or Riverdale*. With more than 30 roles at a very young age, he was expected to have a brilliant career ahead. But no one could have expected that his halo would fade in the most tragic way. At the age of 21, Grantham shocked the public when he was involved in a serious case right at his home in British Columbia. This tragedy not only put an end to the acting career of a young talent, but also became a big shock in the entertainment industry. Immediately after the incident, Grantham proactively presented himself and cooperated with the police. During the trial, psychologists concluded that he suffered from severe depression and was dealing with serious mental health issues, things that no one could have guessed from his bright on-screen image. In court, Ryan expressed deep remorse and pledged to work on changing himself while serving his sentence. Ryan Grantham's story is a wake-up call about the dark side of the entertainment industry, where invisible pressures can push people to unexpected paths. After all, can repentance and time help him find the right path? The answer remains open. Jared Fogle was an inspirational icon who rose to fame in the late 1990s as a student at Indiana University. His journey to lose 245 pounds on a Subway sandwich diet not only transformed him, but also put him on the list of the most successful faces in advertising history. From 2000 to 2015, Fogle appeared in hundreds of media campaigns, turning himself into a living symbol for the Subway brand and earning lucrative ambassador contracts. However, that halo did not last forever. When a comprehensive investigation was opened, Fogle's image completely collapsed. The FBI and Indiana police stepped in, focusing on clarifying the activities of the Jared Foundation, a non-profit organization he founded with the goal of raising awareness about children's health. The shocking findings shocked public opinion, putting Fogle in trouble with the law. As a result, he was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in prison and is currently serving his sentence at the Englewood Federal Correctional Facility with the possibility of parole in 2029. The case has not only shocked the public, but also raised big questions about the ethical responsibilities of influential individuals. It has also highlighted the need for close oversight of nonprofits and served as a wake-up call for major brands in choosing their ambassadors. Because reputation is not just about image, but also about real value. Harvey Weinstein was once a powerful force in Hollywood, co-founder of Miramax, and behind masterpieces such as Pulp Fiction, Good Will Hunting and Shakespeare in Love. With his strategic vision and undeniable power, he helped bring many films to the pinnacle of glory, shaping an entire generation of cinema. But behind that brilliant halo was a dark secret that lasted for decades, a truth that, when exposed, shook Hollywood. In 2017, The New York Times launched a shocking investigation when dozens of brave women stood up to denounce Weinstein's misconduct. Shortly after, The New Yorker continued to publish more shocking testimonies, bringing the number of victims to nearly 100, including some of Hollywood's top stars. Accusations continued to erupt, plunging Weinstein into an unprecedented crisis, ending the career of one of the most powerful producers of all time. The scandal quickly entered the legal stage when Weinstein was indicted on a series of serious charges. Among those who dared to speak out, actress Annabella Sciorra recounted the terrifying moment when he broke into her apartment and forced himself on her. After many tense trials, Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison, while prosecutors in Los Angeles continued to add charges. Not only stopping in the U.S., British authorities also got involved, examining cases related to him. Currently, Weinstein is serving his sentence at Mohawk Prison, New York State. The downfall of Harvey Weinstein not only marked the end of a man who once manipulated Hollywood, but also became a historic turning point for the entertainment industry. This crisis fueled the #MeToo movement, motivating many other victims to stand up, expose the truth, and fight for justice. Most importantly, it is a reminder that no one is above the law, and that an industry can only be sustainable when built on respect and ethics. Harvey Weinstein was once a Hollywood powerhouse, co-founder of Miramax, and responsible for such cinematic masterpieces as Pulp Fiction, Good Will Hunting and Shakespeare in Love *. He was not only behind a string of Oscar-winning films, but also built an influential filmmaking empire where fame and power converged. But behind the glittering spotlight was a dark side that had been hidden for decades, a secret that, when exposed, shook the entertainment industry. In 2017, The New York Times launched a groundbreaking investigation in which dozens of brave women came forward to accuse Weinstein of serious misconduct. Not stopping there, The New Yorker continued to publish more shocking testimonies, bringing the number of victims to nearly 100, including Hollywood A-listers. The successive allegations pushed Weinstein into an unprecedented crisis, ending the career of one of the most powerful producers of all time. The scandal quickly turned into a legal phase when Weinstein was prosecuted on a series of serious charges. Among those who dared to come forward, actress Annabella Sciorra recounted the terrifying moment when he broke into her apartment and forced himself on her. After many tense trials, Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison, while prosecutors in Los Angeles continued to add charges. Not only stopping in the U.S., British authorities also got involved, examining cases related to him. Currently, Weinstein is serving his sentence at Mohawk Prison, New York State. The downfall of Harvey Weinstein is not only the fall of a powerful individual, but also marks a historic turning point in the entertainment industry. This crisis has fueled the #MeToo movement, motivating many other victims to stand up and demand justice. More importantly, it is a reminder that no one is above the law, and that the sustainable development of an industry must be built on a foundation of respect and ethics. Jen Shah was one of the most prominent characters on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City attracting attention with her bold style, strong personality, and lavish lifestyle that was no less than any star. On screen, she appeared as a powerful, confident, and scandal-free woman, creating dramatic moments that made the audience unable to take their eyes off. However, behind the glamorous aura was a controversial reality, a secret that, when exposed, changed her life forever. In March 2021, Jen Shah was arrested on serious charges related to online fraud and money laundering. According to prosecutors, she and her co-defendants operated a sophisticated scam that targeted elderly and vulnerable people. They painted a picture of a promising business, but in reality it was just a trap to steal their victims' assets. When the evidence was released, including internal messages between Jen Shah and her associates, the truth shocked the public. The case not only raised concerns about ethics in the digital age, but also served as a warning about the dangerous pitfalls lurking in cyberspace. Initially, Jen Shah firmly denied all charges, but in July 2022, she unexpectedly pleaded guilty, shocking the public and the media. The result was a 6.5-year prison sentence, forcing her to face the harsh reality behind bars. She is currently serving her sentence at Bryan Prison in Texas, with the possibility of parole in August 2028. Jen Shah's story is not only the downfall of a reality TV star, but also a valuable lesson about fame and power. In a world where fame can bring countless opportunities, how you use it is the deciding factor. True success cannot be built on deception, and the weak should not fall victim to dreams wrapped in a glamorous shell. Stoney Westmoreland, the actor who starred in Disney's Andy Mack was caught up in a major scandal in December 2018 that quickly destroyed his career. Allegations of inappropriate behavior put him in a spiral of intense investigation, complicated legal developments, and intense public scrutiny. During the investigation, the evidence gathered put Stoney Westmoreland in a risky position, with the possibility of facing up to 10 years in prison. Although his defense attorney tried to argue that the initial circumstances could have been misinterpreted, that was not enough to turn things around. Faced with the pressure of the case and the prospect of a harsh sentence, Stoney agreed to plead guilty in a deal with the court to reduce the penalty. Under the terms of his plea agreement, he must abide by a series of strict rules, including strict monitoring of his electronic devices and minimal unsupervised interaction with minors. These conditions are not only part of his sentence, but also a stark reminder of the dire consequences of poor choices. Stoney Westmoreland's story is a stark illustration of how a single moment can undo years of hard work. It is also a wake-up call for ethical responsibility in the entertainment industry, affirming that no one can stand outside the legal and ethical standards set by society. Thanks for watching our video about 25 actors currently serving time. If you found this topic interesting, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with the latest content. And if you want to share your perspective, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Share this video with your friends to discuss and spread the interesting information. Your support is a great motivation for us to continue bringing more interesting stories. Join us on our journey to discover the untold corners of Hollywood.